Good afternoon. Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh, coming up in the next 30 minutes. US lawmakers introduce resolution in Congress to terminate President Trump's 50% tariffs on India. After talks with Prime Ministers of Thailand and Cambodia, Trump announces both countries to halt fighting. Cambodia reports Thailand still dropping bombs. India remembers Bravehearts of 2001 Parliament attack. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, along with other parliamentarians, pay homage. Messi fever grips City of Joy. Lionel Messi unveils his 7-feet statue in Kolkata amidst ecstatic fans. US lawmakers Deborah Ross, Mark Veazey and Raja Krishnamurthy introduced a resolution to terminate President Donald Trump's national emergency, authorizing tariffs of up to 50% on imports from India, helping to restore Congress's constitutional authority over trade. The resolution follows a bipartisan Senate-passed measure to end Trump's Brazil tariffs and rename his abuse of emergency powers to raise duties on imports. Representatives have been leading voices in Congress opposing Trump's tariff agenda and calling for a reset of US-India relations. In October, they partnered with Congressman Ro Khanna and 19 members of Congress in urging President Trump to repair America's strained relationship with India and reverse his harmful tariff policies. Ending Trump's India tariffs is part of a broader effort by congressional Democrats to reclaim Congress's constitutional authority over trade and to stop President from using emergency powers to unilaterally impose his misguided trade policies. In other news, US President Donald Trump has again threatened to launch ground operations in Venezuela. His administration is also imposing new sanctions targeting vessels and shipping companies linked to Venezuela's oil sector, as well as relatives of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. Speaking at the White House during an Oval Office event, Trump said the United States was now stopping 96% of drugs coming in by water, warned that people that are bringing in drugs to, he says, our country are targets. On Thursday, Donald Trump had given a similar message, saying drug traffic by sea was down 92% as compared with the 96% figure he cited on Friday.
But we are knocking out drugs at levels that nobody's ever seen before. We knocked out 96% of the drugs coming in by water, and nobody can figure out who the 4%. I wouldn't want to be the 4% either, but 96% of the drugs coming in by water. Every one of those boats you see get shot down, you just saved 25,000 American lives. But we knocked out 96% of the drugs coming in by water. And now we're starting by land, and by land is a lot easier. And that's going to start happening. And we're not going to have people destroying our youth, destroying our families. Forget about youth, everybody.
The US seizure of the skipper tanker off Venezuela's coast on Wednesday marked the first US capture of Venezuelan oil cargo since sanctions were imposed in 2019. US officials stated that tanker was involved in transporting sanctioned oil from Venezuela and Iran. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said United States would take the oil tanker it seized near the coast of Venezuela to a US port and intends to confiscate the oil it carried. Leavitt said the US is conducting investigations in accordance with the law, including interviewing the crew and collecting evidence. So far, there have been over 20 US military strikes in the Caribbean and Pacific against suspected drug vessels this year, in which nearly 90 people have been killed. Thailand on Saturday vowed to continue military action against Cambodia, despite earlier claims by the US president that he had brokered a ceasefire between the two nations. In a social media post, Thai Prime Minister Anuthin Charnvirakul said a landmine blast that killed Thai soldiers was definitely not a roadside accident. Since Monday, Cambodia and Thailand have been firing rockets and artillery at multiple points along their disputed border. Meanwhile, Cambodia said on Saturday that Thailand continued dropping bombs in its territory hours after US President Trump said the neighbors had agreed to stop fighting. Earlier in a social media post, Donald Trump said Thailand and Cambodia have agreed to cease all shooting effective Friday. Trump claimed after calls with the country's leaders to try to salvage ceasefire he brokered earlier this year after a fifth day of fighting. During a bill signing ceremony at the White House, Trump hailed the progress made in Thailand and Cambodia, said he thinks he just did a very good job with Thailand and Cambodia.
I think we just did a very good job with Thailand and Cambodia. We had them stopped, and I've been saying I stopped 8 wars, but they started shooting at each other 2 days ago. It wasn't good. And we got it, I think, straightened out today. So Thailand and Cambodia is in good shape. So we get a lot done. 8 wars, nobody's ever stopped 8 wars. We have 1 more to go. The easiest one, I thought, would be a country that you're somewhat familiar with, Russia and Ukraine. But a lot of progress is being made even there.
British Prime Minister Keir Starmer met Belgian Prime Minister Bart de Wever in Downing Street to discuss the possible use of frozen Russian assets to support Ukraine. Amid concerns in Brussels about such a move, the leaders agreed to keep up the economic pressure on Russia, and putting Ukraine in the strongest possible position would remain the only way to achieve a just and lasting peace. As European leaders look for ways to bolster aid to Kiev, Britain has said it is prepared to act alongside the EU to unlock immobilized Russian sovereign assets, most of which are held in Belgium. The UK Prime Minister welcomed the agreement from Belgium to strengthen efforts to tackle shared challenge of illegal migration, including greater collaboration on innovative solutions on returns and readmissions, and enhanced law enforcement cooperation. On Russia-Ukraine peace plan, Donald Trump has said Washington proposed free economic zone in Ukraine-controlled parts of eastern Donbass would work without giving further details. United States has suggested creating such an economic zone as a compromise.
Can you tell us how this free economic zone would work in the Donbass and land that the Russians took by force?
Well, I don't want to do that now. It's a very complex situation, but it would work, and a lot of people want to see it work, and we're going to. All I want to do is I want to stop the death of 25,000 people a month.
California and 18 other U.S. states will file a lawsuit on Friday seeking to block President Donald Trump's $100,000 H-1B visa fee for highly skilled foreign workers. The lawsuit in Massachusetts federal court will be at least the third to challenge the fee announced by Trump in September, which dramatically raises the cost of obtaining H-1B visas. Currently, employers typically pay between $2,000 to $5,000 in fees. Bonta's office in the release said Trump lacks the power to impose the fee and that it violates federal law, which allows immigration authorities to collect only fees necessary to cover the cost of administering visa programs. The White House, in response to other lawsuits, has said new fee is a lawful exercise of Trump's powers and will discourage employers from abusing the H-1B program. Critics of H-1B visas and other work visas say they are often used to replace American workers with foreign employees who will work for less. But business groups and major companies have maintained that workers on H-1B visas are a critical means to address shortage of qualified American workers. In other developments, US President Donald Trump dismissed the release of new photos showing him alongside Jeffrey Epstein, saying the images were no big deal.
I haven't seen it, but I mean, everybody knew this man. He was all over Palm Beach. He has photos with everybody. I mean, almost, there are hundreds and hundreds of people that have photos with him. So that's no big deal. I know nothing about it.
Democrats on a congressional oversight panel released more than a dozen new images from the estate of the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein on Friday, including photos of now President Trump. Trump is featured in 3 of the 19 photos shared by House Oversight Committee Democrats, who said they are now reviewing more than 95,000 images produced by the estate. Former President Bill Clinton, former Trump aide Steve Bannon, Bill Gates, and former Treasury Secretary Larry Summers also appear in the batch of images. The committee is continuing to obtain and release documents even as the U.S. Department of Justice is expected to publicize unclassified Epstein files from its federal investigation late next week. A Tunisian court sentenced prominent opposition figure Abeid Morsi to 12 years in prison in what the rights groups say is another step towards entrenching President Kais Saied's one-man rule. Morsi, leader of the Free Constitutional Party, has been imprisoned since 2023 after police arrested her at the presidential palace entrance on suspicion of assault intended to cause chaos. Morsi is one of dozens of prominent politicians currently behind bar amid growing criticism that Saied is escalating a crackdown on his critics, including journalists, activists, civil society groups, and opposition leaders. Last month, an appeals court handed jail terms of up to 45 years to dozens of opposition leaders, business figures, lawyers on charges of conspiracy to overthrow Saied. The United Nations Special Rapporteur on Torture has warned that Pakistan's former Prime Minister Imran Khan is being held in conditions that could amount to torture and other inhuman or degrading treatment. Alice Jill Edwards urged Pakistan to take immediate and effective action to address reports of 73-year-old's inhumane and undignified detention conditions. Khan became Prime Minister in 2018 but was ousted in a no-confidence vote in 2022, has since been jailed on a slew of corruption charges that he denies. In a statement, Edwards said Khan's solitary confinement should be lifted without delay. He said visits from Khan's lawyers and relatives are frequently interrupted or ended prematurely while he's held in small cell lacking natural light, adequate ventilation. Edwards has raised Khan's situation with the Pakistani government. The United States has accused Rwanda of fueling instability as the M23 rebel group in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo threatens to derail U.S. President Trump's efforts to broker peace in the region. Rwanda's UN ambassador Martin Ngoga accused Burundi of an attack on Rwandan territory and said Rwanda is not waging war against the Republic of Burundi and has no intention of doing that. He accused DRC of violating the ceasefire and said Rwanda was fully committed to implementing its part of the Washington peace deal. Congo's Foreign Minister Therese Kaikwamba Wagner called on the Security Council to hold Rwanda accountable. Rwanda denies backing M23 and has blamed Congolese and Burundian forces for the renewed fighting. Former Bolivian President Luis Arce Catacora entered the San Pedro prison on Friday after a judge ordered him held in pre-trial detention for 5 months as part of an investigation into alleged embezzlement. Arce, who left office last month, will likely be tried for alleged economic misconduct while serving as economy minister under ex-leader Evo Morales. A hearing has been scheduled for May 12, 2026. The investigation into Arce's focuses on alleged irregular disbursement from a fund known as the Indigenous Fund, intended to finance projects for indigenous communities. Arce was detained by police on Wednesday. He has denied any wrongdoing. The judge says during the pre-trial detention, Arce will be held separately from those serving their sentences in La Paz prison and will be able to request to leave for health reasons when necessary. Still to come on this edition of DD India Live. India-Malaysia joint exercise Harimo Shakti in Rajasthan. And Agra shoe manufacturers are gearing up for global fair. Libya's museum reopens after more than a decade.
Dr. Shashi Tharoor, welcome to Moscow. How crucial was Russia's support in India's early decades?
Mr. Khrushchev, in particular, opened up Indo-Soviet relations phenomenally. They helped India in everything from setting up the Bhilai steel plant to the whole business of cooperating with India's space programs. All sorts of things happened. The extraordinary success of the BrahMos missile. The Bra comes from the Indian Brahma, and the Mos comes from Moscow.
You're watching DD India Live. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. India and China held a new round of consultations between officials of foreign ministries in Beijing. Both sides highlighted importance of strategic guidance of leaders of the two countries and made a positive assessment of the progress in stabilizing and rebuilding bilateral ties, prioritizing people-centric engagements. The two sides took stock of the exchanges and activities planned for the coming year. Indian side emphasized on the need for early resolution of outstanding issues pertaining to export control. Regional and global developments of mutual interest were also briefly touched upon. As part of the ongoing India-Malaysia joint exercise, Harimo Shakti in Rajasthan, troops from both armies are undertaking range of joint training activities aimed at enhancing interoperability and operational preparedness. These include AMA drills, helicopter slithering, low hover jumps from Mi-17 helicopters, counter-IED familiarization through structured briefings and visits to specialized training facilities, strengthening skills relevant to contemporary operational environments. Joint exercise Harimo Shakti continues to reinforce professional bonds, mutual trust, defense cooperation between the Indian Army and the Malaysian Army through realistic training and shared experiences. The nation salutes the courageous heroes who laid down their lives while protecting India's parliament on this day in 2001. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, along with other parliamentarians, paid their tributes to the Bravehearts at the Parliament House in the national capital. December 13, 2001 remains etched in India's memory when terrorists attacked the parliament, targeting the temple of democracy. Brave security personnel, including CRPF Constable Kamlesh Kumari, laid down their lives to protect the nation. 9 heroes sacrificed everything so that India's democracy could survive and the voices could be heard. The courage and martyrdom continues to inspire the nation. And on social media platform X, President Draupadi Murmu says, and I quote, "The nation salutes the courageous heroes who laid down their lives while protecting our parliament on this day in 2001. Their valor and devotion to duty continues to guide our national spirit. The country remains indebted to them and their families. On this day, we reaffirm India's commitment to fight terrorism in all its forms," unquote. And remembering those who laid their lives during the heinous attack on the parliament in 2001, Prime Minister Narendra Modi shared the picture on X and wrote that in the face of grave danger, their courage, alertness and unwavering sense of duty were remarkable. India will forever remain grateful for their supreme sacrifice. Some other news now. Agra shoe manufacturers are gearing up for Expo Riva shoe and gather bags in Italy, a major global fair on footwear and leather goods. The event brings together manufacturers, buyers, wholesalers to showcase their collection and track market trends. Agra's traders, attending for nearly 4 decades, are hopeful of doubling last year's business.
Shoe manufacturers in Agra are currently busy preparing to participate in the Expo Riva shoe and Garda bags, an international trade fair for footwear and leather goods. The fair, held annually in Riva del Garda in northern Italy, has established itself as a major B2B event where global manufacturers, importers, wholesalers and buyers meet to view new collections, negotiate orders and track upcoming market trends. Agra shoe traders have been participating in the Garda fair for nearly 4 decades.
ये 104 एडिशन ऑफ गाड़ा होने जा रहा है इटली में। आगरा से गाड़ा जाने की हिस्ट्री ऑलमोस्ट 35 से 40 साल तक की रही है। इस बार भी उतनी ही पॉजिटिविटी, उतनी ही क्रिएटिविटी के साथ हमारा एसोसिएशन के काफ़ी मेंबर्स जा रहे हैं। डिज़ाइन पे पूरा जोर है, एफिशिएंसी पे पूरा जोर है और आगरा एक गढ़ की तरह एस्टैब्लिश हो चुका है और वहाँ पर दोबारा से जाके परचम लहराने जा रहे हैं।
यूरोपियन मार्केट के लिए तो सबसे बड़ा फेयर ये गार्डा फेयर ही है और इस बार करीब 30-35 लोग काउंसिल फॉर लेदर एक्सपोर्ट के थ्रू जा रहे हैं और 50-55 लोग अपने स्टॉल लगाते हैं, अपने खर्चों पर जाते हैं। खर्चा तो सीएलई को भी देना ही होता है मगर ये एक तरह से प्राइवेट एग्जिबिटर्स होते हैं ये लोग। तो 80-85 लोग इस बार जा रहे हैं, लगभग इतने ही पिछली बार भी गए थे।
The industry body in Agra has high expectations from the fair, hoping to double the business compared to last year.
नए प्रकार के लेदर आए हैं, नए प्रकार के काउ लेदर, गोट लेदर, शीप लेदर के अंदर नए नए तरीके के एक्सपेरिमेंट्स किए जा रहे हैं और मुझको ऐसा लगता है कि पिछली बार से डबल टर्नओवर इस बार होगा। कस्टमर्स को बहुत उम्मीद है और हम लोग भी बहुत उम्मीदों के साथ इस बार सैम्पलिंग कर रहे हैं और सैम्पलिंग में इस बार नए तरीके के एक्सपेरिमेंट किए जा रहे हैं। एआई का प्रयोग भी किया जा रहा है जिसके कारण से मुझको ऐसा लगता है कि नई तकनीक को साथ जोड़ने से उच्च गुणवत्ता के सैंपल्स बनेंगे और विश्व प्रतिस्पर्धा में आगरा का जूता अपना मील का पत्थर साबित करेगा।
According to exporters, they managed to sell leather goods worth over 250 crore rupees last year, and this year they expect business between 450 to 500 crore rupees at the Garda fair. The fair will be held from January 10th to 13th next year.
Football legend Lionel Messi has arrived at the Salt Lake Stadium in Kolkata to kickstart his 3-day India tour in style. Messi, along with Luis Suarez and Rodrigo de Paul, received a grand welcome at the jam-packed stadium. Messi took a lap around the stadium as he waved to thousands of fans who'd turned up wearing his Argentina jersey. The noise at the venue soared so high as the global football icon made his much-anticipated return to India after 14 years. He's set to attend a felicitation ceremony before departing for Hyderabad. On Sunday, he will arrive in Mumbai before ending the highly anticipated tour in Delhi on Monday. Football icon Messi virtually unveiled his 70-foot statue from Salt Lake Stadium with Bollywood actor Shah Rukh Khan present at the event. Kolkata witnessed football and entertainment extravaganza as Messi and Shah Rukh Khan met each other in the City of Joy. The Sri Bhumi Sporting Club in Lake Town unveiled a towering 70-foot iron statue of Messi depicting him holding the World Cup trophy. With football fans and dignitaries all coming together, Kolkata has transformed into a hub of celebration, marking a historic moment for sports and entertainment lovers in the city. Let's also take a look at the vast number of records held by Messi, what makes him great, that has truly cemented him as the greatest footballer of all time. Messi holds an all-time record of 8 Ballon d'Or awards titles. He scored the most goals in single calendar year, with 91 official goals for club and country in 2012. He is the only player to win the award for the tournament's best player twice. Messi amassed most goals for a single club when he scored 672 goals for FC Barcelona. He is also an all-time top scorer in La Liga. Messi is also an all-time top goal scorer for Argentina with over 115 goals. He holds the record for most caps for Argentina and broke the record for most matches played in the tournament during the 2022 finals. Libya's National Museum reopened in Tripoli after being closed for a decade, giving the public chance to view some of the country's most remarkable historic treasures for the first time since the revolution that toppled Muammar Gaddafi. And that's all in this edition of DD India Live. Let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS. You can scan this QR code on the screen and download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live. Namaskar.